Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. It has been a very taxing week for me. I don't know about you all. Good week. Good week. You know, started laying brick down. Some other work done. You know how it is. I was gonna be all coy about this, but I've decided against that because screw it. So for those of you curious, we live. We're live. The LoreCraft series is done. Or rather, the World of LoreCraft series. Actually, there's a very good possibility of doing future LoreCrafts in the future. And several people have already expressed interest in such a thing. But the World of LoreCraft series is now concluded. 3 months. It would have been 3 months last Thursday. I actually finished last Wednesday. So just below 3 solid months of working on that project. But it is concluded and is in done status. And for those of you who don't remember what that means or don't know what that means, done means if I were to get hit by a car tomorrow and die, you would still get those videos. They would still go up and go live. Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I had to remember what the acronym stood for, Venture. Sorry. Thank you very much, Venters. As always, I put that towards Romance of the... Thank you, Eclectic Oak, very much. I've put that towards Okami. And thank you, Dragonheart, very much. Putting that towards Halo Wars 2. Diesel Edge, is that a repeat? No, it's okay, Adventures. It's just, I'm like... I know the game, like it was slotted in my brain. You know, it's the Chinese strategy game, and it's the 14th iteration of it. And I'm just sitting there like, what does it mean? Because I'm apparently an idiot. Because I will absolutely say that the last 3 months have absolutely been killing me. That's not really a... Oh, kolache sounds so good right now. That's not really a complaint, as strange as that may sound. I feel great having actually finished the project, as I always do when I finally finish a project. Not yet, Sean, because I have a couple more things to work on. But really quick, thank you, Rex. Very, very much. I will put that towards Endwalker, a game I'm actually real looking forward to. And there's Mr. Ed. I was like, there's... You seem to be presuming something, which I'm confused about. Hang on a second. So that's Okami and Diablo 1. Thank you, Mr. Red, very, very much. Thank you, Mr. Red, for that. I've put that towards Okami and Diablo 1. Thank you. Yeah, sure. I'll switch that around. Endwalker. Done. That would be funny, Valerian. Just, I'm up there in heaven playing FF6, and all of a sudden someone's like, "Come here!" Ah! Back, what? So, oh my gosh. So I'm not coming back to streaming immediately. I'm sorry. As I said, I will be nice and open, and there will be an announcement and everything when I am ready to go back to streaming. The fact that I'm not giving an announcement now should explain it, but in case I have to say it out loud, I'm not sure how the rest of my stuff, how long it's going to take. Now, I still have one episode of the extant animations to finish. That's already paid for and done. So that has to happen. That's something you funded. So I'm just going to bake that in here because duh, right? But there's one other thing that I'm working on right now. In fact, I was working on it this morning and last night and the previous night, and, well, you know me. I'm working on this. I hope at least someone out there is actually excited for this, because, good God, I am. It is absolutely amazing actually hearing the finalized version and putting it together. Thank you, little pixie nerd, very, very much. I will put that towards dealer's choice, which at the moment is WoW BC. Don't worry, it's not going to be funded anytime soon. Literally 4 years in the making as of this October. I looked it up. We've been working on the FF9 theater, off and on, for 4 years. Now, I'm going to do a special announcement, and I'm going to throw it up as a premiere. But I'll go ahead and tell anybody who's present now or anybody watching the VOD, it will go live for this year's anniversary. Kind of. To explain what I mean by that, the show's anniversary is August 29th. However, that lands on a Sunday, and I want the theaters to be going live on Saturdays. That's so starting this month, starting the 28th, that's a little over it's about 5 weeks from now. They're going to start going live every week for 13 weeks, and that'll be the whole of the theater. Do the theaters have any animation? Yes. Yes, they do. For certain definitions of the word. It has been an absolutely colossal amount of work. I cannot put into words how much work this is. Here, let me give you a little bit of preview, because this is insanity. Let's just grab it as a new thing, shall we? Ignore that. That's not it. Where the hell is it? There it is. Nope, that's still not it. There it is. Okay. Double checking. Yep, we're good. So, this is what I've been working on this morning and last night. This is the audio. So the top track there is the game audio, and the bottom track is all of the voice acting. So you can
and majesty will be most displayed.
You can hear it there. Now, that's on you, Blue Wolf Alex, whenever you decide to. It is totally up to you. So the way I've been doing this has actually taken a huge amount of thought and effort, because anybody who's ever worked with putting voice acting on top of audio knows there's a whole thing to it. And there's actually like 3 or 4 separate methods. I had a few people listen to a few methods, and I think I like the method we've gotten to. So what I have to do, so what a lazy person would do, or someone who doesn't have time would do, is they would hit this button, and then they would hit this button, and then they would just auto-duck the whole thing. I'm not actually going to do it. But, and they would just auto-duck the whole thing. That wouldn't sound good. So what I've been doing is going through FF9, thankfully, is very segmented. So I can actually take a specific section of song, like up to there, I want to say. And all of that is just, that's one song. And so I can listen to that exact song and be like, okay, well, this song will sound like this based on the dialogue underneath it, and yada, 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 right? And so I then modulate. I then amplify this exact song based on how much it covers voice acting. And for those of you who don't know, that has to do with frequency more than volume. Let me explain what I mean by that. Over here, we've got the battle song. Right? It's going to be a little loud. So that sounds loud, right? But the voice acting comes out clear on top of it, because of the fact that that song's frequency doesn't line up with the frequency of human speech. By contrast, where is it? Actually, the best example I could come up with is in chapter 5 or 6. Excuse me, chapter 6. Yes, I do 5. This is what I use for audio in general. Nope, before that.
The right way.
This one. You hear this song?
Very well. I'll see what I can do.
Very grateful we'll be.
So that song right there, because of the type of harpsichord it's using, that happens to hit the same frequency as human speech. So this actually needs to be brought down more than the substantially louder combat song, because it blankets the voices more. Make sense? So what I do is I go through, again, on a song-to-song basis and change up each thing. No, I didn't peek it. Do me a favor, hit refresh. See if there's a button, and then hit that button if it shows up, please and thank you. And so that's the step I'm on. This is literally the final step, because once this is done, I'll have the audio done, and I can just plaster this below the video, and then render that out as the truly finalized version, and then upload that. I agree, Beat Nuki. Most devs probably don't know the audio science that goes into this kind of thing. There's a lot of thought and work that goes into it. Looking at you, Witcher 3. I love that game, but yeah. Anyways, that's where we're at right now. I have no idea. Eclectic. I really don't. When's it supposed to come out? What editing system? I don't understand the question, but if you're asking what software this is Audacity. Oh yeah, speaking of winds howling, actually that's another perfect example. Let's go over here. You hear this? Now again, that doesn't sound like much, but that's because I've already worked on this section. This is already a finalized section. But this noise effect right here, just the creaking of the woods and like the low rumble. Like you hear that under there? That is another blanket sound. And so again, I had to actually work with that section. Yeah, I know, Pika. Hit refresh, and then find a button, and then hit the button, please. Oh yeah, mixing takes forever, but I like it, and I'm comfortable doing it. It's cool. I'm also doing a few little polishing things, like this section does not sound like this in the actual game. Like, you hear how I just transitioned that there? Instead of just kind of it cutting off randomly. So I'm doing a lot of little tiny polishing like this. That's why I call this the polishing pass. It's because the whole point is to go through and to make it look as specific as... And yeah, I've also... This is funny, by the way. The timing of this is hysterical. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that. The World of LoreCraft series has given me tremendous practice with this. Because I've had tremendous practice with voice acting, obviously, with the dialogue, with working with the dialogue, and with editing the finalized video with the dialogue. Like, it's funny going back through and polishing Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 and all that, because those were done 4 years ago. And my standards and practices have changed so much in the last 4 years because I've gotten so much better at it. Sorry, that sounds like a flex. I apologize. I don't mean to brag, it's just holy crap. Now, I'm not ignoring Imperial Star Destroyer. I swear. I didn't want to lose my train of thought here. Now, I mean, so I don't want to throw shade here, but a lot of the voice acting bits in Chapter 1 specifically are much worse than they are in the entire rest of the series. So, because this was when we were first starting, and I can't ask every person to go back and redo their lines, because in some cases, I don't have access to them anymore. They've stopped being members of the show. And in other cases, they have no availability to do anything because, you know, real life situations. So, for example, I played this on, actually, I'm not going to do it, but, no, Hazardous, screw you. It's not happening. I'm not replacing Garnet's voice actress because of the fact that she can't redo half her Chapter 1 lines. Not happening, no. Now, really quick, hang on. I got a few subs there, which I wasn't expecting. What have I got? So, there's one from Ciela. Thank you, Ciela. Looks like there's actually two from Ciela. Thank you again, Ciela. That's true, J Meister. He's not a villain if we don't kill him. I mean, come on, that's logic. And thank you, Jaludo, very much. If you know where you want that to go, please let me know, as usual. Unless I missed it, which it doesn't look like I did. I've been wondering if anybody was going to notice that, Twister. That's been there for a few months at this point. And Stanley Parable for Johnny. Thank you very, very much. As always. Oh, and there's one of those is going towards the Zelda block. Alright, Dragon. And by Dragon, I mean Star Destroyer. Dragon Destroyer does sound kind of cool. If you think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sorry, just making sure of something. There we go. Thank you, Imperial Star Destroyer, very much. Always appreciate very, very much. The Imperial Dragon Destroyer. Thank you. Very, 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 very much. And thank you, Caspian. I'll put that towards Dragon Guard. Wait a sec. Wait. Shenanigans. I will put that towards Zelda Block as well then, Maduro. And thank you again, Ciela. Hang on a second, so... Oh my gosh, you're killing me. I'm falling behind. That was a bad sign. Okay, Caspian, thank you very much. I will put that towards Dragon Age Inquisition. S.A. Ross, thank you very much. I'll put that towards Lufia 1. I'm taking the choice away from you. Someone else needs to put money towards Lufia 1. And thank you, J Meister, for the bits. If you know what you want to put those towards, please let me know. No, you cannot, Mr. Red. You lack the power to do that. Anyways, so getting back to my point, my point is that Paranoid Android is awesome. That's really all I'm trying to say here. Jesus Christ, Valerian. If you win the lottery, then you have better things to spend it on than me. Yeah, it's a little more rapid than even I was ready for. I even had it, Bull of Alex. Ready to go. Yeah, no kidding, Hazardous. Thank you, Omni, for the bits. Putting that towards the Zelda block. Very, very much appreciate. And I got one from Paranoid Android. Thank you. That's going towards Alpha Centauri. And one from Polka Sweater, which are spelled wrong, but I know who you are because I recognize that name. Thank you very much. And that's going towards Bioshock 2. Larian didn't tell me what she wanted to put hers towards, so if you want to let me know, please let me know. Yeah, the Zelda block, where are we at with the Zelda block? I don't know if I believe you, Pika. Thinking Pika might be lying to me. Torment Tides of Numenera Theater. No! Hang on. So Zelda block is a little... Ooh, okay. The Zelda block is actually closer to being funded than I thought. I'd have to do the math, which I could just pull up the calculator. 10,000 is 86% funded right now. So it's pretty funded for being such a gargantuan block. Like, that's like 100 and something hours. And it's still close to being funded. So, real quick, Larian put it towards Stardew Valley. Appropriate. Very, very, very appropriate, given the moment. J Meister does not know what to put it towards because the site is still having issues. Yes, the site is still having issues. I'm sorry. There's really so little I can do about this. And Valerian... God, these are still going through! Wait, you're right. Stardew is funded, isn't it? Hang on. Did you know that you can go to the website and go to the very upper left corner and there's a rolling ticker called Recently Funded Games, and I have the most 5 recently funded games on that list. And the second one on that list is Stardew Valley. So, be gone. I'm afraid I cannot put that. Stardew Valley got funded super fast, by the way. That's crazy. That is not a short game. And it's just people flung money at it. I didn't even put Dealer's Choice towards that. I'm going to choose to believe you, Pika. To clarify a little bit, I don't really have proof that you've subbed. And so for pretty obvious reasons, I tend to prefer to have that proof. Which is like these notifications. You see these that are popping up here, Pika? That's the proof. That'll show up. Not only does that have an obvious visual notification, but it's also something that shows up in my logs. So I can go and double check my sub logs and say, aha, this person subbed at this point, at this exact second. And I can see what message they put and which month they're on and yada, yada, yada. Unless I see that, I don't really have an indicator that you've actually subbed. I've complained about this before. This is why I insist that people hit that button, Because if you sub, you have to hit a button that shows up on the chat window in order to send that notification, and that's what I use in order to keep track of this sort of thing. So, yeah, that's why I tend to lean on that. That's why I push for that. So, anyways, listen, Baroness, it's tough. Oh, are we straight? Okay, so. I will believe you, because I don't think you're lying, Pika. But you can see why I prefer that method, and that's why I say hit refresh, hit F5. Usually that makes the button pop up, and then you could just click the button, and then you're good. But as Jaludo points out, the button doesn't always show up. You got it, Larian. That would be the Trenthar campaign. Done. Now, oh my god! You're killing me! I guess you're technically literally doing the opposite of killing me. You are making it that I can keep being. Which is worse, if you think about it. That's 2, right, Maze? That's Trails of this guy 2, right? Just to clarify, either way, thank you, Maze, very much. And thank you, Baron, very, very much. Ever and always. Yeah, I'm being killed with donuts. Now that would kill you. All right, so Jay Meister, I did see your message earlier. You said to put it towards Steeler's Choice. You got it. So I still haven't heard from Jaludo. If you're there. Ross, are you okay with me putting it towards Luffy 1? You never actually responded to me. And Baron, right, Baron wanted to put it towards Pocan, which is not on the list. Oh, never mind, it is on the list. I'm an idiot. It's right there. It has $2 put it towards it by Baron. You got it. Now I gotta catch up with all the Emperor Valerian stuff. Hang on. So yeah, someone asked about Diablo 1 and someone asked about Far Cry. Give me a second. So, Diablo 1 is nowhere. I think that's like 10% funded, which will actually be 20% in a few months. But as of the moment, it's 10% funded. And New Dawn is funded, I think? Hang on, let's go to the website. New Dawn. No? What the heck is New Dawn? Did I put it into something else? Far Cry. There's Blood Dragon. There's 3. Where the heck is New Dawn? Oh, there it is. No, it is funded. It's been funded. It's been funded for a minute. We've never reviewed it, Skink Warrior. What? Okay, so that makes sense, and that makes sense. Is that... Hang on a second. Hang on. Hold on to your questions. Don't forget your questions. Yeah, apparently Robostall. Apparently this is my fate. Thanks, Uther. I'm having a small glitch. I think I know where this glitch is coming from. I think this is a side effect of the current problems we're having with the website. Because a few games should be in the queue and they're not. Okay, so that one is in the queue. And that one's in the queue. But that one is not. That one is, and that one is not. Okay. I think I see the issue here. So Far Cry 2 Dawn is funded, Ventures. It should be in the queue. It's not. I'm fixing that right now. Give me just a moment. It should be right here. Yes, right here. I'm falling behind on subs because I haven't even acknowledged Emperor Valerian subs yet. Good lord. How's the fix coming along? No news. Estimated 11 hours. There. Far Cry New Dawn is in the queue now. Sorry. Okay, so that's fixed. Oh my god! Okay. So let's rewind time here a second. Let's crank. What do they call it? Down crank. That's 20 subs. That's more than I thought it was. That's way too much money, Valerian. Thank you so much, Valerian. Always appreciate. Thank you. Damn it, Darth Vader. Someone go smack Darth Vader for me, please, just real quick. This is my personal accordance mix of Storm Peaks from World of Warcraft. Can't get away from it. Can't get away from it. Do you know what you want all that to go towards, Emperor Villian? Now, hang on, let me rewind a second here. So there was Venters' question, which is about New Dawn, which is funded. It's in the queue. Then we have one from Melkor. Thank you, Melkor. Very, very much. Trails in the Sky 2, you got it. And then we have Larian, who is just bombing my face here. How many is that? 5. So, not much. Didn't see what those are going towards, but thank you nevertheless very much, Larian. Very much appreciate. No, don't stab! We're trying to get away from stabbing. You know, we do donuts nowadays. And I think that's it for subs for the moment. I think I'm actually caught up on that. Thank you, all of you, so much, really. I can't... If I could just talk real talk for just a second. Do you know that the world tends to suck? I don't know if you're aware of that. I don't know if you knew that. I know this is news. But, one of the things that tends to suck in the world is that things should happen in a certain way and don't. You know what I mean by that. And one of those things is that... I know, right, Cardoon? All I do is lie constantly. And one of those things is... You know, you work your ass off, and you struggle and you try, and it doesn't result in anything, right? The fact that you all have been continuing to support me, despite the fact that I have been working my ass off lately, is really enheartening. I don't know how else to phrase that. That sounds so egotistical. I apologize, but I hope I'm at least partially explaining it. Because I know it's invisible, right? The work I've been doing. I've been doing 12-hour workdays, 7 days a week, for 3 months. I have been killing myself for these last 3 months, trying to get through this. And obviously you don't see that, because it's all off camera. It's all stuff that I mean, I can prove it. I can prove I have all 91 episodes of the World of LoreCraft on 91, by the way. It's like, I don't even remember how many. Oh, anybody want to guess how long Legion was, by the way? I'll go ahead and give it away. It's not as long as Kata. Yeah, the Sisyphus Brawl. That's actually a great way to put that, Melkor. Anyways, Lartech, I didn't write it down. Thank you for reminding me. As always, if I do not verbally acknowledge something, that means I usually missed it. So please make sure I verbally acknowledge. That's always the rule. Thank you, Slartech. I have put that towards the Zelda block. Much appreciate. How long does a LoreCraft video take to make? On average? Well, I mean, you could take 3 months and divide it by 91, if you want to look at it that way. But, it takes some time and work. I've got to sit down and I've got to map out how a particular episode goes. I need to map out how that episode relates to every other episode, because that's part of the point, right? To tell a cohesive story, not a individual episode. So I've got to map out the episode. Actually, what I really do is I have to map out the expansion, and then I have to map out the episodes, and then I have to bullet point the episodes to make sure I hit all of the certain specific points. Then I need to actually go through and script. Then I need to polish the script. I usually do about 3 or 4 passes on the scripting, because that's how I write. That's how most people should write, if I'm being blunt. And then I go through, I record it. Then I do the audio editing, which is incredibly mind-numbing, but it's been good practice. and I figured out ways to keep my mind engaged while doing it, so that's good. That's good experience. Then I have to go run around in WoW recording the footage that's going to be put against it. Then I have to edit that footage in. Then I have to edit the audio in. Then I do the polishing pass. Then I render it out, and that's an episode of LoreCraft. Thank you, Sean, very much. If that sounds like a lot of work, that's because it is. Now, I'm going to put that towards, what is that? Half Genie Hero. You got it. That's a series I'm really looking forward to. I was thinking about it recently, hi Gary, that, RPGs, are totally my bag, right? I mean, they kind of are. Obviously, lore runner. But I was thinking about it just this last week. If I had to pick one genre of game that's really my bag, it would be platformers. Maybe that's just because, I started playing video games in the 80s. But still, platformers, even to this day, are my bag. And I just get really excited about the idea of playing one. I don't know, it's just a weird thing I wanted to comment on. That's... Oh my god, S.A. Ross. So the Suramar video by itself is like 18 minutes because Suramar is gargantuan. Seriously, Suramar is one of the best story arcs in all of World of Warcraft, but god dang. And, yeah, exactly, Omni. You know what I mean? There's a vibe to it, especially good platformers, which is why bad platformers suck so badly. Anyways, and I was putting it together, I'm like, alright, cool. I've only got 3 episodes left, and one of them is Suramar, and I actually started crying just a little bit because I knew how huge Suramar was, and how long it was going to take to slog through that. It was especially irritating because Suramar is really layer-y. For those of you who don't know how WoW works, you're on any given character is at a certain point in history, so that means you can only see things that are on that layer. And the Suramar story arc is told across, like, I think 30 layers or something like that. So, you have to absolutely go through... Yeah, that's pretty much my pick too, Caspian. Although I'd replace RTS with strategy, but same general concept. And so you have to go through... Thankfully, I have, like, 20 characters. I used some of the leftover characters from the lore run, actually, who are at, like, this exact point in time, and this exact point in time, and this exact point in time, so I could slice through and try and figure out which character has the right... is at the right point in history to get the footage I need. Oh my god. Anyways, first world problems. Moving on. So I got a couple other... Thank you, Ventures. That means a lot. I've got a couple questions I wanted to respond to here. First of all, someone asked about Franbo. I remember it. Franbo. It was Scion. Which is right here. So Franbo looks like just over, like it's 50.2 or something % funded as of right now. And someone asked about Endwalker, which, not counting the subs I got today, is 20% funded. Well, I mean, the RTS scene has been kind of dead, Baronessa, you know what I mean? Like, StarCraft 2 was amazing, and then we had a couple of ehs, and that's about it. Although, did you see the, there's a new RTS that's being made by the people who made Homeworld, I think? I don't remember off the top of my head. We're just in full-on rant mode at this point. I don't even have a topic here. How much more will... Oh, shoot, I don't know, Scion. It depends. As you may or may not be aware, Scion, both the number of people who put money towards a thing and the amount of money that is put towards a thing both increase priority, and priority is what I charge. I charge a certain amount of priority. So, you need about... give me a second. 196 more priority. Whatever that ends up being. Half Genie Hero. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, this is a good time to ask. I got the spreadsheet up right here. Half Genie Hero is technically funded, but not really. There's an asterisk to that. Effect 3 is... I gotta math that one. Oh, where's the calculator? Mechanicus is awesome. I actually have done a review of it, Imperial Star Destroyer. I already answered Diablo 1, Mr. Red. Looks like Mass Effect 3 is 67.55% funded. Lufia 1, hang on, is very unfunded because only one person's been putting money towards it. And remember, more people is a multiplier. So Lufia 1 is nowhere. Hint, hint. That's why I put your sub towards it, S.A. Ross, because that'll boost that substantially. And then there's another question somewhere. Half Genie Hero. There it is. I already answered Effect 3. Half Genie Hero. Did I already answer that? I feel like I already... Yeah, Half Genie Hero... Didn't I just answer that? Hang on. There's no news. I'm just going to be real. If you want to stop watching, this is just me chatting at this point. Like, okay, here's the news. Real quick. Future me. Where's a timestamp so I can do this for future me? 35 minutes. There we go. 35 minutes. Future news. Okay, so Scarlett Johansson is suing over the Black Widow thing. I'm sure some of you are noticing this. I wasn't even going to even mention this, to be completely honest with you, but this is, interestingly enough, a little over an hour each episode, Cardoon. This is interesting enough because, put simply, she's actually kind of in the right on this. I'm sorry, one moment. I mean, Blizzard keeps doing stupid things, but I'm tired of talking about them. And honestly, it's all little stuff. No, Tigzar, that is not true. There are rumor mongers. There are people saying she is preparing to sue, but Emma Stone has not sued yet. Now, I think she should, to be honest. Let me explain what I mean by this. So, first of all, the obvious argument could be said that Scarlett Johansson does not need that money. And let's be 100% blunt, no, she doesn't. She does not need the millions of dollars. This is the sports argument, right? You know, yeah, rich people suing rich people, exactly. It's like, the only reason I am in favor of this lawsuit is because Disney does need to be tasked. The way our legal system works in this country is laws are not iron. They are malleable. The way a law works is that it is tested. And every time it is tested, it is either reinforced or made the opposite of reinforced, whatever that would be. I can't think of that. Softened, I guess? Whatever. So Disney is trying to get away repeatedly with not honoring contracts. That's what this is about at its core. And Disney, as far as I'm concerned, is in violation of contract. Like, I don't even see why this is a lawsuit. Because this is so cut and dry, right? It's just done. There you go. So, that being said, let's get back to the point. So, Disney entered into a contract saying that she would get a certain stipulation of a certain amount of money based on a certain variable, and that specific variable is only theater sales, which does not take into account anything else. Yeah, von Falkenstein is correct. As I said, law needs to be tested. This is a lawsuit because Disney is testing the law. This actually isn't Scarlett Johansson testing the law. This is Disney testing the law. This is Disney saying, oh, we can get away with this. And yet, if you remember, I reported on this before, Disney has a very long standard of trying to violate contract. It's a very normal thing for the company to do. I don't know if other companies do that because I haven't done the research, but it wouldn't surprise me if there are companies that actively try to violate contract on a regular basis. Because again, they can try to get away with it. That's how the law works. If they get away with it, then there you go, we're good. They just get away with it. If they don't get away with it, then the legal system has been pulled into place and is like, no, you can't do that. And the reason, and now I will also say, I do think this whole system sucks. I don't want to get into politics or anything like that, but the reason this system sucks is it only works if you are already rich. Scarlett Johansson has a really good chance of winning this lawsuit. I would say like 98% chance of winning this lawsuit because she's already wealthy. Let's say you had a contract with Disney. Let's say you were doing this and Disney was in breach of contract. Very obvious. And you said, hey, and they said no. How much power do you have to sue Disney? Now, you technically can. It is technically available. But you're going to have to find a lawyer willing to take that job, problem number one. You're going to have to pay for that lawyer, and that's not going to be cheap, problem number two. It's a civil suit, which has no timeline, problem number three. You're going up against the mega lawyers of Disney, problem number four. And that is taking away from your time, your money, and your effort. This is what I mean by rich, by the way. It's not just about money. I know that sounds like a strange statement, but I mean that. How many of you, if you somehow magically made this whole process free, first of all, that would be a nightmare. But second of all, there would still be a cost to you, a cost in effort and a cost in time. Imagine that you have, this is probably not hard to imagine, a regular 9 to 5, 5 days a week, right? Standard 40-hour job. And you have to take time out from that job, which you're just not getting paid for, to go participate in this lawsuit. You see my point? Hi, Kay. Sis says hi. We were talking about you recently. Yeah, exactly, Larian. And yeah, this is just... So, this is one of the reasons, though, why I'm still in favor of this lawsuit and why I do still think that I hope that Scarlett Johansson wins. Because this has the possibility of reinforcing this law, which means Disney has less of a likelihood to get away with it, which means the people who actually need that money have a better chance of actually getting it. Not the greatest outcome, but that's life, you know? I said you played a monk, Kay, and that you're a cool dude. And I hope to employ you someday to make 3D art, but that's unrelated. Yeah, exactly. I mean, actual legal precedent is a whole other thing, but it does set the metaphorical concept of precedence. So, yeah, also, while we're on the subject, the Disney response was disgustingly laughable. Like, it's that new thing, right, where it's so funny and so bad. It's the MST3K of responses. Scarlett Johansson is showing just absolutely no care or consideration for the current pandemic and the children. Won't someone please think of the children? Was basically their response. It was, wow. Not yet, Diesel Edge, not yet. I checked this morning. Emma Stone is not suing yet. We'll see. Oh yeah, it's horrible, Valerian. It's messed up. It's terrifying. Yeah, they're also opening up Disney, by the way. Oh, Loner. I have a donation from you. It was a Patreon thing, and you put it towards where is it? Project Aces. Project Aces is a company, not a game. Do you mind clarifying? I've had it in my notes here for like 3 weeks at this point. I suppose, speaking of which, let's just segue here. So, some of you may or may not be aware of the fact that a governmental department of the state of California is currently suing Actiblizzard for violation of employee rights. Now, I'm not bringing that up. I swear I'm not bringing that up. But the reason I'm mentioning this is there is a current thing going on about Sonic Doctor being awful. And that's a total lie. Sonic Doctor is amazing. Anybody who says otherwise can meet my fist. By the way, Valerian, you didn't put yours towards anything. I don't have that down yet. And I punch hard, by the way. Really hard. Anyways. Thank you, Sonic Doctor, so much. 3 years. Welcome to the 3-year club. Much appreciated. I'll put that anniversary one towards something. Oh, you like the diamond one? She spent way too much time working on those stupid icons. Anyways, and yeah, I haven't even gotten into Games Workshop yet. Well, we're gonna cover that one too. That's part of the random news. These are practically full topics at this point. Endwalker, you got it. And anyways, Loner, if it was a donation, maybe. Either way, just. You got it, Sonic Doctor. You got it. Done. The reason I bring this up is there is a current zeitgeist, a current cultural consensus that Project Wingman? I'm not sure what that is. But it's on the list, and that's all I need to know. Done. Clarifying. There's a current consensus that Blizzard's dying, and you know, WoW is dying, and Actiblizzard's totally going to be called to task. Now, I hope they do. It is possible that is what's going to happen. But as usual, I must be the voice of reason because I live in reality land. And in reality land, a lot of people are pinning their hopes on the fact that this lawsuit is what's going to drag Actiblizzard down. Some of you may or may not have heard me say this 17,000 times in the last week, but this is a civil corporate lawsuit. These are going to happen for years. We will probably continue to be reporting on this for years unless Active Blizzard decides to settle, which is always a possibility. Now, the reason I bring that up is I have proof of that. You remember the Riot lawsuit? Honest question, how many of you remember the Riot lawsuit? Got started in 2018 and is still ongoing now. I double checked. Just to make sure, because I have a list of ongoing, legal things, and that's one of them because I've been following that rights. I actually reported on it 3 years ago, and it's still on the list. I double checked. Yep, nope, it's still going, it's still doing its thing. Real quick, hi, Lady Low Kitty, what's up? Welcome to stream. We're just kind of chatting about random stuff at the moment. Please forgive me. Yes, I'm kind of with you on that, Hazardous, but you get my point. The entire idea I'm trying to present is that these things do take time, and that's just kind of how it is. It's like Daniel Dort over there who wants to sub towards Legend of Legaia. That game is going to take some time, let me tell you what. So here's the thing. I'm actually going to double check right now to tell you what the current stock is of Active Blizzard. I actually own Active Blizzard stock too. But that's because I'm a dick. What I mean by that is I pay attention to certain holdings, and I watch to see if they have plummets, and the moment they plummet, I buy. And, I mean, it's not hard to see the plummet on Active Blizzard stock. Plummets, I should say, because there's been a couple. But yeah, you buy the dip. Pretty basic stuff. All it requires is paying attention and having the capital ready to go. My advice, Valerian, what usually happens, especially right now, because you notice it's at $83.62, which is still down. The year average is 91, for perspective. That's a big chunk. For those of you not aware of how stocks works, a switch of $8 per stock is huge. That is a gargantuan dip. That is a hilarious, probably billions range of loss. That is getting the Master Sword, and then it stabs you in the chest. Now the thing is, it's still dipped. It has not turned around yet. It is so this is probably a better time to buy than to sell. If all you care about is the financial, ignoring morality, ignoring ethics, we've already talked about that. I spent an hour and a half talking about that last week. Morality and ethics aside, if you're interested purely in the financial side, this is the time to buy. Now, if you're interested in selling, wait until it pushes up, probably about to 90, because it will. Unless it actually really self-destructs. I keep mentioning that. I mean, nobody predicted the fall of the wall, right? In East Berlin. Every sign was that the wall was going to keep being there for decades. Nobody predicted it would just kind of suddenly, right? So it's possible that Active Blizzard will suddenly... That is something that can happen. Unlikely, though. And don't take financial advice from a streamer, even though yes, actually, if you could take that advice from me. Now, I just saw a ton of bits being shoved down my throat by Lieutenant Leroy Jenkins. Thank you very, 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 very much. So much appreciate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you happen to know where you would like those to go? Oh, I feel you, Valerian. As I talked about, you were there for last week, right? The morality of this situation is its own thing. I was only talking purely in the financial sense. Never bought stock before. It's more of a pain than you'd think. I'm dead serious. It's like, okay, so I've got to first set up your account, which actually takes way more time and effort than it probably should. Then you've got to be like, okay, so I've got to buy this stock. Okay, so that means I need to take money. I need to attach my bank account to my, my trade account. And then I need to dump the money from the bank account to the trade account. That's got to take a few days to go through. And then it has to go through, I forget the other process. I forget what it's called, but it has to go into settled state. which means the money is there and has been there for a period of time. That's actually there for good reason. That's there to prevent people from trading money they don't have. Obviously, it doesn't work because people do that all the time, but it is a stopgap to prevent it from being even worse than it already is. Then once the money is in settled state, then you put in an order to buy, and then you wait for that order to be filled, which can take undetermined period of time, usually 1 to 2 business days. Then that has to settle, and then you actually have stock. Congratulations! You get my point. That's hysterical, Valerian. I mean, it's not hysterical, it's terrible, but... hey, Siledeer. Hey, Siledeer! You missed it. Should we tell him? Should we tell Siledeer? Thank you for the sub. If you know where you want to put that, please let me know. Yeah, exactly, Von Falkenstein. Fractional reserve banking is such a terrible idea. I'm in my opinion, I should clarify that. Because there are arguments, you know, there are debates and opinions with regards to that. That's not fact. It is my opinion that fractional reserve banking sucks and shouldn't exist as a concept. But that's just me. Yeah, exactly, Mortal. That's not even a new concept. That's a few centuries old. Short selling. Short selling is so stupid and awful and terrible. And anyway, sorry, moving on. We need to just take people. You know, we don't need to establish a law. Just take people out and shoot. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Where the hell was I in the news? Okay, so we talked about... Right, so the riot suit is still going. The reason I bring up the riot suit, though, is a degree of precedence. The fact that riot has not settled is what I'm bringing up. That's the significance of that. Not only has it taken 3 years, but they haven't settled yet. And that means there is at least a precedence that Actiblizzard will not choose to settle. Oh, and also someone asked earlier, why do civil suits take so long? There's actually a lot of reasons, but I'll give you the 2 biggest ones. Biggest reason number 1, civil suits have no timeline, no date. You know, there's no deadline, okay? Criminal cases have a deadline, and now there are ways to extend that because this is the legal system, so there's asterisks on top of asterisks. But generally speaking, you have something called right to speedy trial. 9 months. You get 9 months, boom. If you don't have your initial sentencing within 9 months, they let you go. Now, there are asterisks to that, again, but you see my point there. Whereas with civil, the other reason is a lot of civil lawsuits boil down to nothing happening, to put it as bluntly as I can. The amount of proceedings, I've actually researched this for a few specific cases, the amount of proceedings that are, you know, lawyers walk in, you've got the judge, you've got the thing, and all right, we're beginning this particular case, CC 318753332-38, and one of the lawyers says, hey, I'd like to bring up this other completely unrelated thing that completely changes the nature of this case. Okay, we're going to have to basically branch out, and what they technically do is they make a separate case to investigate this new topic that's been brought up. And then once that's settled, that then kind of bakes back into the main case. And both sides do this constantly. Now, once again, this is a concept that isn't necessarily bad. It's supposed to be rigorous. That's actually the design. This is supposed to rigorously test the law, as I talked about earlier. The problem, as with most things, is that it's gone completely overboard. It's gone, you know, I always say within reason, right? As long as you're doing something within reason, it's fine. They're doing stuff out of reason. They're like, no, yeah, we're over here and doing this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and there are versions of filibusters. This is, oh yeah, I was going to say, there's also, it's worth noting that several of these lawyers continue to make money upon money upon money by doing this, and, you know, within reason. Anyways. So yeah, that's the other big reason why these kind of civil suits just drag. It doesn't help that one thing that can and has happened is Javan puts money towards Cyber Shadow, and that just changes everything the moment he does that. One of the things that can and does happen is there's a procedural issue, and if there's a procedural issue, generally speaking, everything has to be thrown out the window. Like everything. Now, they'll start the case over, because of course they will, but they have to procedurally start from scratch, if you follow me. So even, like imagine, hear me out. Let me try to explain this. Those of you who don't know legal stuff. Imagine you're cooking, and this is actually a terrible analogy. Let me rewind that a second. Let's say you're building Legos. That's actually a better example. Let's say you're building a Lego, a model, Star Destroyer. Cool. You're building this thing, and about halfway through, someone says, no, you did it wrong. And so what you have to do is you have to effectively reset the board. Let's just say you take a hammer to it, and all of the pieces are still there. All of the Legos are still there, but you are now back to the point of pulling them out of the bag, effectively, and starting from scratch. It is... Now, some lawyers will do that on purpose. You know, either to elongate a trial or because they're losing or whatever, because it is a valid legal defense to try and get a mistrial. But, yeah. Consequently, at least within criminal suits, criminal legal proceedings, most people try to avoid mistrials at any cost, because that's just a mess. But anyways, so hang on, we just suddenly more donations, wasn't ready. I haven't forgotten Shadow Machine. I mean, how can I? The box is right over there. I could see it if I could see through walls. I caught it, Sal, here. Chemics, but didn't tell me towards anything. Poindexter, just putting it towards Borderlands 2. Thank you, Javan, very much. One of these days, I'll get you to pronounce your name, and then I'll actually be able to pronounce it properly. Thank you, Gold Tech. Very much. Putting that towards Dishonored. Thank you, Chemic. Didn't put that towards anything. Everyone attack him with donuts immediately. And thank you, me Poindexter, very much. I will put that towards Borderlands 2. And Lieutenant Leroy put it towards my choice. I'm actually going to probably split that one up, to be completely honest. Throw it at a couple of things. Oh, I know, right, Eclectic? Anyways. So, legal crap. When did I become an economics and legal show? Anyways, let's get back to something a little bit more normal. Ghostbusters. How many of you seen the latest Ghostbusters trailer? Just dropped last week. I suppose I should raise my hand on this one, because I have. It's yeah, custom emotes. It looks surprisingly good. But yeah, Von Falkenstein says, there's a new Ghostbusters. That was exactly my reaction. I was doing my daily news trawl. And I'm like, wait, there's a new Ghostbusters film? Was pretty much exactly my reaction to that. But yeah, there is a new one. It looks surprisingly good. Especially given the last one. Yeah, way too many spoilers. As usual, I don't recommend you watch the trailer. For the usual reasons. Because my crusade against trailers hasn't ended, let's just put it that way. And that being said, Paul Rudd is really all I gotta say about that. I mean, there's some other decent actors when it comes to that, but Paul Rudd is in it, and he's awesome. And that the end. It has shifted its way onto the me and my friends and family are probably going to see it. Speaking of which, yeah, I was actually going to segue into Dune. The new Dune movie is supposed to actually be coming out this year. Part 1 of X. I double-checked last Tuesday. I don't know if it's changed since last Tuesday. But as of last Tuesday, they still have not greenlit Part 2 of the Dune movies. We'll see. I kind of hope. Dune. Deserts. Arrakis. Wadib. You know, I don't know what else to say. That being said, I need to pull this up here because I was going to talk about this. The cast list is amazing. So, first of all, I have no idea who's playing Paul Atreides, so that's whatever. But we've got Rebecca Ferguson, who's playing the Lady Jessica. We've got Oscar Isaacs as Duke Atreides. We've got Josh Brolin as Gurney. We've got Stellan Skarsgård as Harkonnen, which is probably the most perfect casting of that whole list. We've got Dave Bautista, who's playing Glossu. Zendaya is playing Chani. And Jason Momoa is playing Duncan Idaho. Oh, and also Javier Bardem is playing Stilgar. Like, that is a really good cast list. I am actually impressed by that. By itself, that makes me more interested in seeing the film. That being said, someone asked, I didn't like the book. Did I like the previous series? So I couldn't watch the series. It was too horrible to me. Not in a bad way, in a kind of a way. And I obviously didn't like the movie at all. But that's just me, and don't hate me. Please don't kill me. I mean, I guess you can kill me. That's whatever. Fine. Someone said, they should have just done the whole movie, the whole book in one movie. I actually disagree with that, for the same reason that I disagreed with that exact same point when it came to Lord of the Rings. I know Lord of the Rings was 3 books, but my point is that certain books just don't really directly translate to the film, and Dune is absolutely one of them. And I think one of the biggest flaws, if I was to name one major flaw of the original Dune film back in the 80s, is the fact that it was one film. The only way you can do that is by effectively ignoring the original and just doing whatever. Now, that's valid. You can do a reinterpretation of that. That's been done. Jurassic Park. But it's worth noting that the Jurassic Park rewrite was done very carefully and precisely by Crichton himself, who, for those of you not aware, is the author of the book. So I'm not saying it's impossible to put Dune into one film, but I wouldn't do that. I would not be something I would do. Either way, it looks good. If nothing else, we will get one good Dune movie. So we'll see. What else? You really? Nope. I'm just Halo Infinite is currently undergoing testing. No, I haven't, Trihexy. Halo Infinite is currently undergoing testing. And every source I've seen that has played it has praised the ever-living crap out of it. It's worth noting that it's a purely technical test, so that it's gameplay, focused on gameplay and focused on multiplayer. I mean, I'm very much into gameplay, obviously, but multiplayer means nothing to me. So I do not care in the tiniest, slightest bit. No offense. Obviously, a lot of people are into Halo multiplayer. But I just wanted to comment on it because apparently there are pieces of information in the beta and the technical tests that they've thrown out that probably shouldn't have been there. And so people have been data mining, because of course they're going to data mine Halo Infinite, and as a result there are spoilers about Halo Infinite's actual campaign roaming around there. So this is more of an FYI thing. This is more of a, be wary of Halo Infinite spoilers. You say that, Von Falkenstein. Anyways. Alright, fine. Fine, Darth Tyran, fine. I'll acknowledge you. Just because you're awesome and refuse to play in my 4X game. Thank you for refusing to play in my 4X game, Darth Tyran. I do very much appreciate, as always. Thank you. And don't mistake me, multiplayer does have obvious relevance and significance to game design, especially for something like Halo. I'm not trying to say it doesn't. I just have no interest, that's all. I know, right, Omni? I think they did it on purpose, to be blunt. The way it was done, it's entirely possible that it was a complete screw-up. It really is. But it's far more likely that they did that on purpose as a marketing strategy. Because to be perfectly blunt, that's what I would do. I wouldn't put anything real in there. I'd put, tiny little tidbits to get people like, ooh, But that's about as far as I would go. And no actual spoilers. That's No Moon. So there's a game studio it actually got started back in, I think, February at this point. But they have officially reached the point of actually being a studio. They have successfully become a studio. They're called That's No Moon. Believe it or not, they don't work on Star Wars games. It's comprised of a few groups of people. I don't know if anybody will recognize any of these names. Michael Mumbauer is on there. I'm trying to find a list of the people here. Taylor Kurosaki is here. There's no list. Why don't you just give me a list? It's a bunch of people from Sony and Naughty Dog, and a few other studios, who have branched out to make their own thing. Some of you may or may not remember that I've talked about this before, but to reiterate, there's a very common cycle in the entertainment industry, and that is, hey, let's make something cool. We make something cool, and then it fails, in which case nothing, or it succeeds, in which case they get bigger and bigger and bigger, they become an evil corporation, and then people leave that to go make a new thing, because they want to make something cool. And this cycle just kind of happens, and has been happening for decades at this point. So I'm only bringing this up because this is yet another, new company, and that this is the quote-unquote best part of the cycle. The part in which the people leave the big company to make the new stuff, and the new stuff tends to be cool, and then they become a big company, and then so this is the good part of the cycle right here. And I just wanted to mention it because the other thing that caught my eye about That's No Moon, and of course I forgot to write down the exact quote because I'm a moron, is they want to do multimedia medium video games. I'm trying to find the exact quote here. And of course I can't find it because I didn't write it down. They specifically mentioned that they want to do something related to interactive and non-interactive medium, is the way they phrased it. Thank you, GamerTechno. And we'll see. That's been attempted a few times before. I've actually covered a few games that have done that kind of stuff before. And one of them was actually really good. The problem is doing that kind of is harder to do than it sounds, and has its own problems baked in, like the fact that you have to watch a show and play a game in order to really get the story. It's worth noting that every single press release they've had, including everyone I just read a few seconds ago, constantly talks about how this is narrative-driven, single-player focused stuff. I mean, duh, of course they're focusing on that right now. There is a giant cultural zeitgeist going against live service as a video games, so duh, it's the easy, low-hanging fruit. But yeah, it's the FF15 thing, which is something that did it poorly, or I can't remember what it was called. Shoot, I have a way to figure this out. Anybody do this? It's like, I need to know the name of this game. So in order to figure out the name of this game, I know an actor who's in it. And I know that, I can't think of the actor's name, but I know that actor was in this other game. And I can't think of the actor's character's name in the other game, so I have to look up the game, then the character sheet, then the actor list, then what that actor's been in, then I'll figure out the game. Anybody else do that? Is that just me? Am I the only one who kind of bounces through to figure out who people are, to get information? Here we go. Okay. Silence. That's his name. Who is played by Lance Reddick. Okay, there we go. So we're 2 steps in now. Well, actually 3 steps in. And Lance Reddick has been in... Dramatic pause. Quantum Break. Now, I know you said that earlier, Baron. I didn't miss it. But I wanted to go through the whole chain and make sure it was time. So yeah, Quantum Break is the game I'm talking about. I actually did a rumination on that game. And it was surprisingly good. Quantum Break is what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of games that are shows at the same time. If you haven't looked into that game, I actually recommend it. It was, like I said, it was surprisingly fun. Ended on a cliffhanger, FYI. It's never been followed through on, so that sucks. Not the first time I've mentioned that. Dude, Lance Reddick is awesome. I'm sorry. He is... Like, you know how that works, right? You have your favorite... Yes, that's the one, Javin. You have your favorite actors, and then there's, like, eras of actors. Like, so you got the favorite old actors, favorite medium actors, and favorite new actors, and that just kind of shifts over time. I know Reddick isn't exactly that new, but he's kind of in the new category still for me. Like Oscar Isaacs, honestly. Anyways. So they're doing that. Who knows what that's actually going to come of that? Who frickin' knows? But, speaking of video games being weird, how many of you have looked into or played the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters of 1, 2, or 3? Not raising my hand on this. I haven't even bought them. Agreed, Polka Sweater. Alright, Chemic, tell you what. I will put it towards Alan Wake. Just for you. The Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 Pixel Remasters. I haven't even heard of it, Trihexia. Lost in Random? Haven't even heard of that one yet. Yeah. Waiting on the console port. Literally every friend I know who's interested in buying them is waiting on the console port. Or a console report? The console port. The reason I bring it up. They're good. They're not perfect. They've still got a lot of the flaws of the original games. But, like Zeiss, for example, he's not perfect. Okay, that's not fair. Zeiss is totally perfect. But, bad example, bad example. Imagine like half of a Zeiss, half perfection. Thank you, Zeiss, very much. I put that towards the God of War trilogy. Obviously, it's hard to summarize, but for those of you who were following the Pixel remasters before they came out, all of the news was bad. Like, every piece of information that came out was negative. And it was like, wow, these look like these are going to be a train wreck. Then they actually came out, and a few people bought them and started testing them, and it's like, wait, they actually put work and effort into this? Now, let's get this out of the way, and I will be putting a link to one of the soundtracks in the VOD. The music is legit. Some of you probably are aware of the fact that Nobuo Uematsu is my favorite composer of all time. But even ignoring any fanboyism, the man has made plenty of music I don't like. So it's not like he can do no wrong. I've heard plenty of songs of his that I can't stand. But what he's actually done is taken the music and actually remixed it. Now, if you don't understand what I mean by that, most people, when they're trying to redo a song, especially for a remaster, what they do is they take the song and they say, okay, let's make it sound more orchestral, right? And so you just throw in some strings and you throw in some piano and maybe like a violin in the background and you're done, right? The problem is most people don't think about the specifics of what instruments work well at what frequencies. And this goes back to the audio design thing I was talking about at the beginning of today's Loreweek. Uematsu has actually sat down and changed several of the instruments completely from their originals into something completely new in a way that works better than the original did. He has actually remixed it rather than simply remastering the music. Now, the games are remasters, don't mistake me, but the music is remade. This is proper remakes of the music. You follow me? Hang on. I'm not done. Because the second thing he did with the music is he does the second, not verse, I can't remember the terminology because I don't know music terminology, but he does a second verse thing. So to explain what I mean by that, here's the loop of the song, right? So this loop plays with the new music, with the new instrument and the new design, and then it doesn't loop. Instead, a second version plays. Like, this is new part of the song that he has basically completely designed a new tune or a new segment based on the original segment. Like this, right? For anybody who's played FF14, FF14 does this constantly with their remakes when it comes to music. So, the full loop is actually closer to this. So the music is awesome. Like, really, really good. Yeah, by all accounts, this is going to be his final musical project ventures. And hell of a way to go out. the fact that he's actually taken, is it section? Again, I don't know music terminology. I've studied music since I was freaking 7th grade. I don't know music terminology. Anyways, the music, there are songs in FF3 specifically I can point to that I don't like, that his new version is actually good. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. And you know what? Here, since someone already asked, and since we're already talking about it, why not? Give me a moment. I'm probably going to buy these remakes literally just for the music. And I know what you're thinking. Lore, you don't get the music from buying it. I know. It's just a mental support kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just, I am buying the game to support the soundtrack. I also know for a fact I am not the only person doing that. Hang on. Someone name a song from Final Fantasy III. If that's the OST, I think it is Java, then it doesn't count, because that's like 3 songs. And they're good, but, I mean, It's possible that's actually the soundtrack. Play the original. That's a good point. That's actually an excellent point. Let's just play the original. Eternal Wind. Good pick. Give me a moment. I'll pull up Eternal Wind here. Now, hang on. Let's really go through on this. Let's make this nice and clear. You know, that's true, Larian. That is a valid thing. Okay, so let's get you the NES original first. I'll just play it for a few seconds because you don't want to hear the whole thing, I'm sure. So, real quick, thank you, Walker. I did put that towards Xenogears. You are awesome. Don't worry, we'll get to streaming soon, I swear. Now, that's the original NES. Whoop, that's still the original NES. Hang on. Okay, so, you remember what I just talked about with regards to how SDR93 is just an awesome, awesome person? I was just talking about that. Thank you. I've put that towards Mass Effect 3. Very, very much appreciate. Thank you. Stream 2. So, remember what I was just talking about? How most people, when they're remaking music, they just change the instruments? This is the DS version. Yeah, you see my point. It doesn't quite work. It's not bad, but you see my point. Thought, I'm going to go ahead and pause it. Thought was not put into what should be done with it. Now, let's hear the new version, the one that Uematsu just remade. Gonna have to turn this one up. I'm sorry, I hate to analyze, but you notice how he even changed the instrument on the same melody in mid-melody, which is something you'd never do with a basic remaster of a song. Did it again, by the way. Oh, no doubt, Sonic Doctor. None. You hear how he's also adding extra instruments underneath it, too? And here's that the second section thing I mentioned. Whole new harmony with the piano underneath it. By the way, you notice there's actually a third section for this one. We're combining the first two. Here's the loop. And then it loops. God! That is so good! It is so well constructed. Jesus Christ! I'm sorry. That is just really, really, really well-constructed music. I mean, so someone picked Eternal Wind, which is one of the more iconic and good songs from the original FF3 anyways, but you can see what I mean. That's why I wanted to go through that. Play the original, play the remaster, play the remake. Another reason I wanted to point this out, and this is the other reason this is a remake. If you're doing a proper remake of a video game, you have the ideas of the original video game, but you are effectively making a completely new game, right? Whereas with remasters, usually you actually take the original code and polish it up a bit, change the graphics a bit, maybe go through and do a few patches and stuff like that. It's a completely different work cycle, right? But that's exactly why I bring this up. The music in the DS versions was remasters. They took the original song and changed the timing of it, and the beat of it, the pace of it, and the instruments, but that's it. They didn't move the board aside and make a completely new song, which is what Uematsu has done with these things. And this just, oh my god. So let me find a song I actively dislike. There's actually a lot of songs I dislike from the original FF3 soundtrack, and I gotta pick just one because I want to be sitting here playing music for an hour. We got other things to do. Someone mentioned Fat Chocobo, but that's only like a 27-second loop, so we're not going to do that. I agree with that, Mortal. I didn't play Singularity, Trihexia. And being a glorified support studio is actually a better idea than not, as we've seen with the people who made, what was that, Brink, I want to say? No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, the DS, I did not like the DS soundtrack, especially for 4. Oh yeah, speaking of which, for those of you not aware, Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6 are two of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I'm really looking forward to hearing what he's going to do with those soundtracks. We're going to have to wait a few months. But I have gone from... to... gosh. Anyways, let me try and find a single song from FF3 that I'm not a huge fan of. Give me a second. Oh, no, I've got a perfect one. I got to find it because I don't remember the name. I think this is it. Nope, that's not it. Hang on. This one, maybe? This is it. So I'm not going to play the original NES. I'm just going to play the DS version, okay? This is dungeon music, so you hear this a lot. And that's it. Here's the new version. Notice how he's adding additional layers underneath it to help flesh out the heavy, echoey nature of it. Notice how he pulls tension in by, I forget what it's called, but it's a thing where you cut off a note. I used to know what that's called. I used to play trumpet, believe it or not. It's when, instead of letting a note die out, you chop a note, and that adds an extra emphasis, a punctuation to the sound you're doing. And he does this to add a little bit of tension here with the strings he's using for this section. Like that. Second section. Doesn't it, Javan? I'm glad I'm not the only one who hears Dragon Quest in these. And he's also got what I believe is a clarinet in the background there. Notice this time he doesn't do the cutoff. Listen to that! I'm sorry, there's a little bit of the music geek in me peeking out, but good God! It's not even done. There's a whole new section right now. And then it loops. God dang, that's good! Sorry, thank you, Seraphim. I could just sit and analyze and discuss why these songs are amazingly constructed, because they really... that's pretty much the reason why I like Uematsu, in a nutshell. And putting it towards Laura's choice. Thank you, Seraphim, very much. Very, very, very much. Because, so if I could explain for a moment, some of you may know that I actually can't stand Yasunori Mitsuda's musical style. Like, I actively dislike it. And it's not that he's a bad composer, because he's not. And anybody who loves the soundtracks of Chrono Cross or Xenogears can attest to the fact that Yasunori Mitsuda is not a bad composer. But his style is different. We did a whole thing about this years ago at this point, back when they were even called Revenant Arc. They were called Dark Pixel back then. And a whole thing discussing the specifics of why it doesn't work for me, because Mitsuda's style is far more free-flowing and far more focused on... I don't know the words. I don't know how to describe it. His music tends to do its own thing. The easiest way I can explain this is to listen to Shala's theme from Chrono Trigger. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a good song. I don't actually care for that song that much, at least not the original, because that is key Mitsuda. That is his style in one single song. If you need to understand Yasunori Mitsuda's style, that song is his style. Uematsu, like several people in chat have said, he's classically trained. He does constructed music. There's a patterning to the way that Uematsu does music. You know, this will complement this, and these will complement these. And it all fits into this fractal, for lack of a better way to put it. And the math, for lack of a better way to phrase that, appeals to me so much more. So forgive me for gushing, but it is absolutely amazing to listen to this 20 years later. I'll explain that in a second. And just absolutely, he still does the same thing. He still does the absolute wonderful patterning and balancing act, and just, oh, I said I'd explain that. Some of you may or may not know, and I've told this story before, that I learned music, how to design music, how to understand and analyze music, by listening to Final Fantasy IV soundtrack on a little micro recorder. I just carry it with me to school, and it had a slow down feature too. I could hit this and it'd slow down the music, and so I would listen to the music and slow down, and I would just pay attention and dissect it, analyze it, and that's how I learned music theory, was by listening to Final Fantasy IV's soundtrack. But he does the same stuff now he did then, is my point. The Four Fiends fight from Final Fantasy IV has a thing where you've got the strings and the horn, which are both complementing each other, but which track in the song each is playing will switch up periodically depending on what needs to be emphasized. And there's always that kind of balance between the two. Horns, and then it does with the horns, and then it switches up to with the strings. And yeah, it tells, that's another thing too, Uematsu's style. No, Trihexia, there's nothing to talk about there. The style is very much designed to be put on the screen. We do know that Uematsu has played, he likes to watch the games, and he likes to see the games played, and he likes to see the scenes, and do them like most movie and television composers do, right? They write music for the scene, they write music for the character, they write music for the tone or the area. And that is Uematsu's style in a nutshell. I keep screwing up his pronunciation because I'm terrible. I've heard it said several different ways over the years. You got it, Fife. That took me a moment. Thank you very, very much. I thought you meant the Zelda block for a second. I started typing out Zelda block. Now, hang on. One last music comparison, and then I swear I'll stop boring you. So, I've been kind of crapping on the DS version of FF3's soundtrack, but there is at least one song in the DS version that I really like. Now, you'll notice they did several things here that I've been talking about. They actually changed up the instrumentation in mid-thing, and they fiddled with it, right? They actually put some work into putting extra layers under it and blah, 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 blah. Work was put into that song. Now, it's still the same song. It's still a remaster, but it's a much better done remaster. Here's the new version. The Dark Crystals. is so well done. Oh, it's not even done. There's a third loop. Jesus Christ. So yeah, you notice how this is the new one on Deathstroke. This is the one that just came out last week. This is. Do you want me to save it, Sonic Doctor? Because I could do that. I could do that. Listen to it the first time on camera. He built into the epicness more. Like instead of there wasn't a jarring shift like there was in the DS version, which is fine, by the way. That's an emphasis shift. It's not a bad shift. But in this version, in Uematsu's version, in the remaster, in the Pixel remaster, it does a more gradual build-up, and in the background you hear the horns develop a little bit more gradually, and then are followed after a bit of time by the percussion section. And even when that's finished, he then uses I think it's a flute, I'm not actually sure, some kind of woodwind in the background, in order to add another layer under the main melody, and just really, God, that is so well constructed. I can see it. I can see the pattern that the song is. I could make a picture of it if I had the ability to do that. But really quick, and then like I said, I swear I'll shut up about this. Hang on. So obviously I've just been playing FF3 music because that's the most jarring example, because I didn't like a lot of FF3's music. But there are some songs I really enjoy that even the new versions are really good. That brass section. Notice he pulls it down for a bit instead of keeping the tempo high. For the bridge. And then another down. Yeah, it sounds very FF14, doesn't it? God damn, that's good. Sorry. Just, yeah, someone mentioned the Rebel Army. This is straight up Dragon Quest. No, God. So, real quick. Last one. For real, the last one. Some of you may or may not know this. So, while like hours, like within 2 hours of the remasters dropping, people were uploading YouTube collections of the music, basically pointing a camera at the game, because the game actually has a built-in soundtrack, and just hitting play and hitting record, right? And the last song that he did was the Chocobo theme from FF2. Now, for those of you who don't get this, In Final Fantasy II was the first game to include chocobos. It is also the first game to include the chocobo theme, which is, I want to say, a 9-second loop. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And it's always been kind of a joke that it's just like, oh, God. So several people, including me and at least 4 people I know, were all like, what's the chocobo theme sound like in FF2? Well... Get a French horn in here. Could be a trumpet, I'm not sure. And then it loops. It is, so yeah, he actually brings in the later parts of the melody that weren't added until 4, I want to say. And actually adds a little thing to it, and blah, 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 blah. So, basically, he takes the original Chocobo theme and turns it into an actual song. And just to make the point, this is the original Chocobo song. This is it. I think 9 seconds is overdoing it on the loop. It's literally 4 measures. Why is there an hour of this? What is with YouTube? Anyways, I'm not going to leave that on because then I will slowly go insane. Yeah, that's like a 4 or 5 second loop. In fact, hang on. Sorry, give me a second. I'll talk over it to kind of reduce the volume. 5, 6, 7. It's 7 seconds. It is a 7-second loop. It's God. That's just. Oh, I know, Hazardous. Slowly losing his mind. Anyways. Believe it or not, I had something else to talk about other than the freaking music of the Pixel remasters. So for those of you just joining us, let me get another timestamp. Where are we at? 143. Jesus Christ, I've been talking too much about music. There we go. So, no, Slartic, I haven't touched WoW for real. I looked up spoilers because it might be relevant for the LoreCraft series, and that's it. Why Imperial Star Destroyer? Words. I was gonna say Pixel remasters, right? Pixel remasters. So obviously, you know, it's the versions and it's got the music. Cool. What about the games? Near as we can tell, so far the translations are all from the newer translations. So the GBA translation of 1 and 2 are the ones being used in this one, which is the superior translation. And the DS translation with some edits is the one being used for 3 so far, okay? So good translation, cool. The negative thing. Damn it, Mike Tamano. Sorry, I was reading your comment while I was talking there. But they have also tweaked the gameplay in ways that you're not going to see anyone else. And I haven't seen anyone else summarize this stuff, which is why I'm commenting on it. All tiny little itty-bitty changes, but fall into what I would normally call polish. the Chocobo Forest being made more obvious on the world map, so it's not just an invisible thing, or changing it up so you don't have the sickness cooldown from changing jobs in Final Fantasy III, to rebalancing when you get which items from which drops in Final Fantasy I, to changing the encounter rate in all three games, to changing the nature of how some of the tile encounters work. So if those of you don't remember, in FF1 and 2, they had a thing where they would make it so a specific tile, every time you walk on that, you would proc an encounter, usually a specific encounter. That's gone. That's just been ejected in favor of changing up the encounter style itself. Yes, correct, Paranoid. Paranoid Android. Lots of little polishing changes. It's not going to completely make the games better. It's not going to make them into some amazing, fantastic version, but it's pretty easy to say that at this point they're probably the definitive versions of 1, 2, and 3 as a consequence of all these dozens upon dozens of tiny little changes. By the way, someone asked, did they remove troll rooms? Kind of. So what they did is they did two things. Yes, they actually got rid of the Peninsula of Power in FF1, believe it or not. They did two major things in FF2 to remove the... No, Slartek. To remove the troll rooms. The first thing is I already mentioned. They got rid of the encounter thing. For those of you who don't remember, one of the reasons the troll rooms were troll rooms was because you'd be spawned in the middle and you'd be in an area which either had tiles of guaranteed encounters or you would be going through a map zone that had massively increased encounter rate. That's no longer a thing. You still go into this room and it's still empty and pointless, but it's not a, haha, here's an encounter, screw you. So that has been improved. The other thing is they've got the in-game mini-map now, which is pretty much straight out of the DS version of 4, if you remember that. So you can actually see what's going on and where, and it helps you to avoid troll rooms, but also it's just a built-in mini-map, and it's actually a pretty decent mini-map in general. There's other things. Like I said, there's a lot of very small and minor changes. It'll be interesting to actually go through the series if we ever do. Does 2 keep the way leveling works? Believe it or not, I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't bought these games yet, by the way. I'm probably waiting for a Switch version. But near as I have been told, I haven't heard anything about changing the way the leveling works in general, so you probably still get the job stuff in 3 per encounter. You probably still have to use it to level it in 2, and you probably still have to just straight up kill things in 1. Final point, speaking of which, everyone talks about the font. It's literally the most talked about thing. In fact, I saw a news article that says, the FF remasters are garbage and all the fans hate it. And the article, if you actually read the article, because I was curious, it was clickbait. The actual article was, several people are upset about the font. And it pointed to a single Twitter post about one person who was upset about the font. Don't mistake me, I'm not trying to say the font is good. Actually, it's terrible. But it's not... That's the bad. That's the negative part so far, is the fact that the font is garbage. It's also fixable relatively easily on the PC, and there are already people who are already modding it, and I should say modded, past tense, because we already have a mod to get the sprites to be changed to their GBA versions. So, the mod community has been absolutely swarming over these games. I'm curious what they're going to do with them in the future. That is the only reason I'd be tempted to buy this on PC, by the way, mods. I'm still torn on that one, because the idea of having, you know, FF6 on my Switch is very appealing. Anyways. Is that it? I think that's actually it for all the news I wanted to share. Spent way too much time talking about that music. I do apologize. I don't know if they're going to fix the font officially. Hell, I don't even know if... Yeah, I know, right, Omni? The font is bad. I don't want to sound like I'm dismissing that. Oh, yeah, Games Workshop. Games Workshop sucks. I actually wasn't going to talk about that, really, because they do suck, but that's actually, you know, old news at that point. That was news last week, and it just got buried by the fact that last week I had to spend an hour and a half discussing the nature of hills. Games Workshop, so hang on. Let me see if I can find the exact quote on this one, because this is so stupid. In short... Oh, God, the lack of music. The lack of music. There we go. Okay, we're okay. So, individuals must not create fan films or animations based on our settings and characters. These are only to be created under license from Games Workshop. GW has made it something that they consider illegal, something that they consider unacceptable, to do anything with their works. No fun little YouTube animation, no little thing on stream, no nothing. Now, obviously, this is terrible for many reasons, but most people are probably most familiar with the Emperor's text-to-speech service YouTube series, which is now nuked as a consequence of the fact that they have claimed screw you. Yeah, this is it is impressive when you are actually worse than Paramount, who has been extremely terrible about allowing Trek stuff in other things for years. If I had to devil's advocate this, I would let's see here. How would I put this? See, what I would do is I would try to deliberately lose the argument, Sonic Doctor. I'd be like, okay, so you see, we need more money. The only way to make more money is to prevent people from being aware of our products and services. That way, only the people who are going to pay money for our money can money our money. Yeah, this... yeah, that's right, Astartes. That's the other big one. Astartes got nuked, too. No, what's happening is... I don't remember the specifics. I actually did look this up. So, GW poached a few people from YouTube to make an official thing. An official animation. I forget what it's called. And that in official work was like, hey... And the common consensus, this is not 100% certain, is that the specific reason that they are shutting down all other fan works is they want everyone to focus on the official work that they're making. Now, that's stupid. I'm pretty sure people would still watch the new animation despite the fact that, you know, text-to-speech is a thing, right? No, I don't, Slim Gypsy. I just like the look. These are pure cosmetic. They are arthritic compression gloves, but I just like them because they look cool. Yeah, no, this is this is really dumb. Yeah, they I don't even know what to say about that. It is so mind-bogglingly stupid that I can't even dissect this, because it's like saying shooting yourself in the face is stupid. It's like, how do I dissect that? All right, so the first thing you need to know about shooting yourself in the face is the bullet's going to go straight through, right? Like, it's probably going to penetrate, based on the sheer proximity and the fact that it still has most of its momentum, both sides of the skull. So it's actually going to exit the skull. Now, the exit wound is going to work like this, and then I discussed the exit wound for a minute. And then this is what's going to happen to the matter that's in the middle that I discussed. Like, what is there to discuss there? It's so stupid. It is legitimately stupid. There's shooting yourself in the foot, and then there's lining up for a second shot, which is what they're doing here. You mean if you're unlucky, hazardous? Because people have survived being shot in the face, and I would not want to be one of those people. Why? You know what this reminds me of? This actually is another thing. So there's one of the Forza games is being delisted. For those of you not aware, the reason that's happening is because of the fact that when you make a car racing game, you have to pay money to the car manufacturers to license the facsimiles of their cars in your game. Those licenses are time restricted, which I've actually already spent an entire Loreweek discussing how stupid that is, but let's ignore that for a minute. So they're time limited, which means the game is no longer legal. They no longer have the license to do that. And that's stupid. On every level. That is actually stupid. I philosophically, the idea that I have to pay Volkswagen to model their car for a video game. Volkswagen doesn't get anything from that. I mean, they get the license fee, But they're getting money for nothing. It is what this really boils down to. Yeah, you're right. This is the same thing with guns. You ever wonder why the AK-47 is so damn prolific in video games? Along with like the I can't remember what it's called. There's another generic not shotgun, assault rifle that's in like every video game because nobody owns the license right to it, so everyone can do it freely, you know. The M16. That's what I was thinking of. The M16. Thank you. Or maybe it's the MP5. I think it's the M16 though. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know that. That's just I actually been keeping track of that. I can't even possibly put into words how monumentally stupid that idea is, the licensing thing. Some things make sense to license. Licensing a gun or a car makes no sense. I shouldn't have to pay you to advertise your product. That's a little bit backwards. Now you might say, I make money off your product. Yeah, and if I buy your car, then I could make money off your product too without doing it. But you know what I could also do is I could go out and just take footage and how your car drives by in the background, and that doesn't mean that footage, which I shot, which I then sell for money, suddenly is me making money off of your product. And yeah, I'm not even going to get into music licensing. Let's just leave that alone. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but there's a disconnect there, right? Because you're right, Funfalk. There's a disconnect. If I decide Games Workshop is not going to increase customers or sales because of the fact that they've decided to lock down on this. And, BMW or whoever, I shouldn't name this, car companies are not going to suddenly sell more cars because of restricted license deals. Or even the license deals in general. And and this actually kind of applies in music as well, although not... The music thing, I'll admit, is a little bit trickier. But at the same time, if I buy your music to put in my game, then I have bought your music to put in my game. I shouldn't have to license it. Then again, I'm really against the subscription model thing in general. Looking at you, Adobe. I mean... So let's just go ahead and start with the obvious answer salad here. No. But the other side of that is, let's assume for a moment that license fees don't exist. That concept is erased. So let's say someone makes a video game that has a VW, a Volkswagen car that just explodes and constantly malfunctions. What they can then do, assuming licensing doesn't exist, is they can come out and say, hey, that's not cool. That's I forget what that is actually. Because there's 3 levels of misinterpretation in information. There's like libel, and there's slander, and I forget what the other one is. But anyways, they can then approach them and be like, yo, this is misrepresentation of whatever the particular legal variety it is, and either take them to court legally, or defamation, that's the third one, or maybe try to say, we deserve a bit of costs for the loss of this, or maybe just don't do this, or maybe put in a public announcement saying that our cars don't explode constantly. There are options available to do that other than trying to charge up front for something that you shouldn't have to pay for. And yeah, as von Falkenstein points out, when CBS/Paramount decided to crack down hard, by the way, they've backed off of that. Have I mentioned that? It's not really been big news, but CBS and Paramount have backed off a lot on the fan thing. Not completely. They're still kind of being dicks. But if you remember, they came down like a ton of bricks. And then they were like, whoa, and they backed off of that because, holy crap. I'm curious if Games Workshop is going to pull a similar maneuver. Also true, Hazardous. As I pointed out earlier, anybody can sue anyone for any reason, but actually winning a lawsuit is a whole other ball game. That's over there. Because, yeah. You know, honestly, I just wish I could pay for the air I breathe. Can we make that a thing? I already have to pay for the water I drink. Which, the more I think, the older I get, the more that sounds insane, if I'm being completely honest. Like, on one level, it makes perfect sense, right? Because work and time and effort and resources and stuff goes in to make sure that I get water. But on the other hand, it's water. It's water. Like, what? Think about that philosophically for a second. Really process that thought. What would you do without water? I don't have to answer that question because I have been without water. I know exactly what that feels like. Oh my god. No, exactly, Cordoon. It makes a degree of sense because there is work and effort being put into it. But at the same time, it's water! Just, come on! Anyway, sorry. We've drifted. I apologize. We've drifted way off topic here. Point is, GW sucks. I mean, they've sucked for years. Water doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine buying some Perrier? Terrible. Yeah, GW sucks. Moving on. That is actually, for real. That's the last... I'm sorry, what was that? Hang on, I just saw a news tidbit on the last second there as I was closing that. What did that say? Yep, nope, that's right. Nirvana is suing someone for a t-shirt. That's really dumb. I'm not even gonna read that. I don't care. Oh my god, you're kidding me, Loner. Oranges don't grow on trees, you know? Wait. Let's. I've talked way too much about economics today. Let's. What's our episode? So let me chop off the local recording.